This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So once purchase requisition is approved, now it will be sent for the purchase department who will start creating the purchase order, and then purchase order will be approved. So the way we have done PR release strategy, we have to do for the PO also. So today we will discuss on purchase order release strategy. So how can we design the purchase order release strategy today? So it is similar to purchase requisition. So here also, there should be some prerequisites. So before starting the configuration for PO release strategy, these are the prerequisites which you need to prepare, right? So you should know what are the intervals you required, and for that intervals who will be responsible for the approval, right? And who will be your uh, so based on your approval, you will create your release code and the characteristics. So for purchase requisition, I had taken purchase executive, purchase manager, then I had taken purchase executive, purchase manager, and the plant manager. But when now we are into purchase order, so for purchase order, now I have added SCM, that is supply chain manager, and VP. Okay. So additionally, I have just made these two changes. And for purchase order release strategy, for purchase requisition, the table name was CBAN, right? Yesterday I mentioned CBAN. But for the purchase order, the table name is CEKKO for the release. This is what the table name which we will use. And plant WRKS, additionally, I have taken purchase organization today, EKORG, purchasing group, same field name, value, GNW for document type. So it is depend whether you are taking all these or you are taking only 3, 4. You just go to SC11 and you can check that. Margot, I think you was absent yesterday, so you can go through the recordings. So yesterday we discussed about the intervals, characteristics, and release code details. Do you want me to repeat again, or it is clear to everyone?
Yeah, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah.
So once we got an approval for the purchase requisition, why do we have to do this for the purchase order again?
Okay. Because there will be some set of different person who will be creating the means who will approve the purchase requisition. So there can be same person, there can be different person, but these are two different document. Okay. Purchase requisition is a different document where the users will create, or based on their requirement they will create the purchase requisition. So now suppose you are a user. Okay. So you want to place some order. So when you will start initiating the purchasing, first of all, you have to create a purchase requisition, right? So when you will create the purchase requisition and submit the purchase requisition, whatever product you have selected, right? Based on that, the your supervisor or your manager should approve whether they are going to procure that material or not. So once that will be finalized within your team, it will be sent for the purchase order, because purchase order is the document which will be sent to the supplier, not the purchase requisition. Purchase requisition is an internal purchasing document which is used within the organization. And with reference to this document, means with reference to your purchase requisition, you will create the purchase order. Then purchase order will be released and it will be sent to the supplier.
So we will get the approval from the same persons which
It
they
can be
approved.
it can be same, it can be different. It is depend.
Okay.
Otherwise, what you can do when you will create a purchase requisition, you can uh, create different release persons, different approver, maybe your admin supervisor or admin manager, or maybe your plant manager, production supervisor. Okay, so it can be anyone. So I had just taken the example of a purchase executive, purchase manager, and plant manager, because that was related to a purchase requisition. Okay.
Oh,
So approver can be anyone. So there should be some set of employees. So when we start, discussion with the customer, we ask them. So first of all, we will explain what is purchase requisition and what is purchase order. Now, please let us know for purchase requisition what will be the who will be the approver, who will be responsible for the approval of this document, and for purchase order, who will be responsible for approval. If they will say no, the same set of persons should be there for PR also and PO also, then that is fine. Only the difference here is, if it is a purchase requisition which will be created by the purchase requisition will be created by user of the organization. So anybody from the any department. So the moment they will create the purchase requisition, it will be sent for the approval. So now when the purchase department will create a purchase order, they should have some reference to create the purchase order, right? So at that time, they will have the reference of purchase requisition. So with reference to that purchase requisition, they will create the purchase order. And again, it will be sent for the approval. And the moment purchase order will be approved, it will be sent to the supplier, not the purchase requisition. Clear? Or any confusion?
Yes, sir. No.
Okay. Chitra, Marco,
Yeah,
any doubt?
no.
Okay, fine. So let me explain once again in case if you have any doubt. Okay. So before starting configuration for the purchase order release strategy, so we have seen how to create the purchase order, right? So once you will create the purchase orders, now that purchase order should be sent for the approval. So now if I log in into SAP system, we have seen how to create a purchase order. So I'm just getting into the display mode of the purchase order. And this is what we have seen. For example, this is the purchase order which we have created, right? So once this purchase order is created, now it should be approved, right? So there will be someone who will be responsible for the approval. So when they will approve, they should have the release strategy tab. So that release strategy tab will be in the header in the purchase order. For the purchase requisition, the release strategy tab can be defined in both header label and item label, both. So this is the difference. So we have three screens in the purchase order also. So release strategy for purchase requisition we have seen that can be designed, that can be configured in header label and item details label, in item label, both. But for purchase order, we can do it only in the header label, means it will be in the top. So this is your header label. For purchase requisition, we saw that in the item label. Here it was coming. Okay, if you have any doubt, just go through that recording. Okay. So once now we will complete all our configuration. The release strategy tab should be enabled in this header label. So now we cannot see the purchase order. Okay, let me create a purchase order with our enterprise structure and select your document type, whatever document type you have created, because this is what the document type which you can use. For example, this is my document type, and select your supplier. Okay, and select your material. Always select your material based on your plant, because materials are plant specific. Select your material quantity and the price. I'm just maintaining. So now when I'm creating the purchase order, so forget about this. Okay, let me change the material. Seven. Okay. Now, so can you see any release strategy tab here in the header label? No, right? So I'm just going to save this view. So here there is no release strategy for the purchase requisition which I have created. So earlier I just shown you how to create the purchase order. Okay. So usually whenever you will create a purchase order, the purchase order release strategy tab should be appear in the header level. Then only it will be sent for the approval. Okay. Now let's get back to the document, and here we can see. So first we should know what are the intervals we are going to take when we will start configuring the pure release strategy. So we have taken 0 to 10,000. So if any PO will be created with the range price means value of the purchase order in between 0 to 10,000, then purchase executive and purchase manager should approve the purchase order. That means if suppose you are creating this purchase order and the value of this purchase order is below 10,000 or up to 10,000, 2% should be approved. So how can they approve? When the release strategy tab will appear here. So that is what the configuration we are going to start. Okay. Then if that price will exceed, if it is 10,000 to 1 lakh, then 3 persons will be responsible for approval. Purchase executive, purchase manager, and supply chain manager. If it is greater than 1 lakh, then purchase executive, purchase manager, supply chain manager, and the VP. VP, GM, CEO, MD, whoever is there. You can add multiple persons. So based on the discussion with the customer, we will design or we will maintain this approval process, and we will ask who are the set of employees who can be responsible for the approval and what is the label of that, what will be the cost of that. So these are the price range. So this intervals is price range. So 0 to 10,000, 10,000, 1 to 1 lakh, greater than 1 lakh. You can design anything. It can be 0 to 50,000, 0 to 1 lakh, whatever you want to take. So based on the discussion with the customer, it will be finalized. They will let us know that, okay, if any PR will be created in between 0 to 50,000 or 0 to 1 lakh, these 2% should be responsible for the approval. If it will exceed maybe 1 lakh to 5 lakhs, these persons will be there. If it will be greater than 5 lakhs, then all the approvers should be there. So this is how it has to be finalized after discussion with the customer. Okay, so once we will complete our interval discussion, then we will ask or so not ask, we have to create the release codes. So we know that these are the approvers. Now for each approver, we will create a release code. So this will be 2-digit code. This will be unique code here. It can be anything you can define here. So just mention your approver, whoever will be there. And for every approver, you just create a release code. Okay. And then characteristics means who, when they will go for approval, suppose when purchase executive, purchase manager, when they will approve the document for this price range, for which plant, for which purchase organization, for which purchasing group, for which document type, each and everything should be mentioned in the approval strategy. And based on that, the release strategy tab will trigger to the respective approver. Okay. And so these are the like characteristics, and for each characteristics we have standard field names. For plant we have WERKS, for purchase organization it is EKORG, for purchasing group we have EKGRP, for value you can see for purchase requisition it was GSWRP, for value it is GNetW. Okay, document type is same. So what is the change we have from PR to PO? If you will see, the table name is changed. So table name for PR it was CBAN, for PO it is CEKQ. Okay, and for value, for purchase requisition it was GSWRT, for purchase order it is GNetW. These two difference we have. Okay, and if you don't remember all these field name, you can go directly to SC11 and you can search the table, search the field name, technical field name, and you can mention. How can you search? I told you, you have to go to SC11, go to SC11 and enter the table name. So yesterday we have seen for CBAN, it was for purchase requisition. For purchase order, we have ZKKO. Then go to display, and you can see all the field names are available. So now it is depend what are the like characteristics you are taking. If it is purchase group, you can say it is EKGRP, right? If it is purchase organization, it is EKORG. So like that, you can search if you don't remember. For net order value, it is GNetW now for the purchase order. So yesterday we have seen for the purchase requisition, it was GSWRT. So in the same way, you can search. So I have just taken the example of the characteristics. Usually these are the characteristics which we are using for most of the clients. But apart from that, suppose it is company code, purchase, storage location, any material group, whatever characteristics you want to take, you can take it from that table and you can maintain that. Okay, so this is what I have written. Go to S11, enter the table name. So this is our table name, and search the field name. So whatever field name you require, based on that, you can maintain your technical field name here. Hope it is clear. Let me know if I am not understand. I'll repeat again. I don't have any problem.
Understood, sir.
Okay, fine. So when you will start pure release strategy, before that, please complete the PR release strategy. Would be easy to understand. Okay. Now, once your prerequisite is ready, you know what is your intervals, who are the approver, and for what are your characteristics. If this is ready, now you can start your configuration. So you can start your configuration with SPRO, IMG. I told you a T code to reach directly to the purchasing. Do you remember that? SPRO, IMG,
OLME?
sorry?
OLME?
Yes. So directly you can use OLME in spite of SPRO, IMG, material management, purchasing, because this is your regular configuration path. So if you want to use that, you can use, but when you will start working in the projects, you should have hands-on, and uh, you should do everything very fast. So in spite of going through that path, you can use directly this transaction code OLME. So directly you will reach to this path, purchasing. And now, so yesterday we have seen for purchase requisition. Now we will see for purchase order. So now click on purchase order, and we have seen how to define document type and the number range, right? How to define the document type and how to uh, assign the number range to the document type. We have also seen the field selection key also in the screen layout document level. Now we'll see this release procedure for purchase order. So click on this release procedure for purchase order, and here also we have same things. First you have to edit characteristics, then edit class, and then define release procedure for purchase order. So we have done the same yesterday also, right? So only this is the change. Edit characteristics and edit class, these are same. So now click on edit characteristics, edit, then we will once we'll complete edit characteristics, we'll come to edit class, then we will define our release procedure for PO. So click on edit characteristics, and then it is the same way, right? So either you I told you the T code also directly how to create the characteristics. So directly you can use this T code CT04 also. Okay, if I'll click on CT04, directly I will reach here. CT04, same screen, right? Okay, now, so now you have to enter the characteristics. So what are the characteristics you have? Based on that, we define it. So yesterday also we have defined the characteristic. We started for plant. So I had given yesterday PR, the characteristics name. So today I am giving PR PO plant 8. So this is the reference which we are using. So I am just going to mention here the description as PU underscore plant 8. So you should know what is your characteristics. My characteristic is plant 8. I have just given this name. Maybe this PU underscore plant characteristics is already defined in the system. So just to avoid that, I'm just entering PO underscore plant 8. And these are your tabs. This is for display, this is for edit, the change, this is for create, this is for template, and this is for delete. So now we are going to create a new characteristics. So whenever you will create a new characteristics, you have to click on this create tab. So once you will click on create, enter the description of. So what are you doing? You are doing release strategy for plant. Just you enter, then go directly to the additional data, and here you have to enter your table name. So what is the table name we have for PO? What was there for PR?
Ribbon.
PR was CBAN, but now we are doing for PO. So for PO, what is the
CEK.
table name? CEAKO. Okay, and field name. So what is the field name for plant? If you don't remember, you can see here. Plant field name is WERKS. So enter the field name here, WERKS. Okay, then press enter. So in this additional data tab, you have to enter only the table name and the field name. Then press enter. Then you will get the same information. Format data used from ABAP dictionary. So just continue. Now automatically it will trigger to your basic data view. So in basic data view, you can see the description is coming automatically. Okay, your data type is picking based. So this all the data is picking from your S11 table, which we have seen. Number of characters 4, because plant is 4-digit alphanumeric. Okay, so now when you are designing, when you are going to when you are going to design your plant, now you have to select the value assignment also. So what are your value assignment? So yesterday we discussed about single value and multiple value. So what is the difference between these two? Why are we selecting single value and why are we selecting multiple values?
For multiple values, you can add multiple plants.
Okay. So now if suppose you have multiple plants, then click on multiple value. Now suppose you are working for a client and they have only one plant, then select single value. Okay. So click on multiple values, then description. By default, it will show your language and the description. So ENN plant. Value. Now you have to enter your plant code in the value tab, because you are defining the characteristics for plant and you have selected in basic data as multiple values. That means you will have multiple plants. So enter all the plants whatever you will have. So if you have somewhere in the Excel sheet, you can directly paste it here. Otherwise, you can maintain manually. So suppose I have 3 plants, 4 plants, 5, 10, 20, whatever plant you have, just paste all the plants here. All you can type manually and write the description. Plant 1, plant 2, plant 3, or whatever the name of the plant, it is defined in your enterprise structure. Enter and click on additional values and save. So this is what you have created characteristics for plant. In the same way, you have to create it for purchase organization. For example, now I'm creating for purchase organization and just I'm giving this name and then click on create tab. So once you'll click on create tab, again the same thing. So P purchase organization release strategy. Okay. So I'll just try it as purchase organization. And then where should I click now? Where to go after basic data? Can you say? So after basic data, where should we go now?
Additional data.
Additional data. Now go to additional data and enter the table name. So what is the table name? is the table name for PO?
CK
C E
EK.
K
EK.
K O. And what is the field name for purchase organization? It is EKORG. If you don't remember, you can take your reference and you can check that. Or EKORG. So this is my field name for this characteristics. Then just press enter, continue. It will trigger to basic data. Check your number of characteristics, your data type, and description. And here again, if you have one purchase organization, if it is centralized purchase organization which you are using for multiple plants and for multiple company codes, it is depend. So in that case, you can select only single value. Then click on values, and here 7730. Click on additional values and enter your description. Purchase organization. And in additional data we have seen in restrictions, here you can enter your class type. So yesterday also I shown you. So 0, it is not mandatory, but so 032 is the class type code which we are using for release strategy. Save it. So if you want to define for plant, you can go to the edit mode and you can assign that to. Okay. So I have created for plant and purchase organization. Then I'll create for purchasing group. PR8. Okay. Then same thing. Click on create. Purchase group release. Then go to additional data. Enter your table name. Table name will be same for all the characteristics and field. So for purchase group, the field name is EKGRP. Then press enter. It will get, or it will show you the information. Then continue. Then if you have multiple purchase group, select multiple values. Then go to values tab and enter your purchasing group, whatever purchasing group you have created, and the description. So description of purchasing group can be your name of the employees, or it can be the designation of the employees. So whatever you have. Additional data we have filled. In restriction, if you want to maintain 032, which is our release strategy class type. So click on save. So we have defined purchasing group, and whatever the characteristics you are defining, just make a note of this, because the same characteristics description you have to assign in the next step when you will start creating your edit class. So we have done for plant, purchase organization, purchase group, and let's do it for value. Okay, so click on create and value release for value. Okay, then click on additional data. Now see the difference. When I will enter value, so table name will be same, field name will be GSWRT now, sorry, GNetW, which will be used for PO. Then press enter, continue. Now see, additionally it will ask for the currency. So when you will define for the value and you will enter your field name GNetW or GSWRT, because these are used for the intervals, right? The value. So that's the reason it will ask for the currency. So click on continue, and here it will be mandatory field. So based on your currency, you maintain that currency. And here now in value assignment, you have to select multiple values, because there will be multiple value which will be used here, and interval values. Interval value allowed, because we are taking the intervals now. So these are the intervals. 0 to 10,000 is one interval, 10,001 to 1 lakh is one interval, then greater than 1 lakh is an interval. So that's the reason we are selecting interval values allowed and multiple values. Okay, then go to restrictions and you can assign your class type. Okay, and in values, okay, we have not maintained the characteristics values. So now I told you how to maintain the values, right? Yesterday, do you remember how can you maintain the value here? So first you have to enter, then enter the value whatever you want to start with, then space, hyphen, space, and then enter the value. Otherwise you will get error. Okay, then next range is 10,001. 10,001. If I'll write directly, what will happen? It will not allow me, right? So you have to enter hyphen, space, and hyphen. So your value, hyphen, sorry, space, hyphen, space, and then enter your next range. And next one is greater than 1 lakh. And then click on additional values. So this is how you will design. This value range can be anything. Okay, what is left? We have done for plant, purchase organization, purchasing group, value, document type. Okay, so it is not mandatory that you take all these. You can take only 2, only 3, and 4 also. It is depend on you, but do it when you are doing it, because this is the standard way which we are using. So pu underscore document type. So doc typ 8. Then click on create. Document type release. Then go to first we need to go to additional data, enter the table name, and for document type field name is BSART. Enter, and then continue. So when you will continue it will ask the same, and then now go to your values, and in this value now you have to enter your document type. So whatever document type you are using while creating a purchase order, you maintain the same document type here. So let me take the same document type which I am using. So whatever you have created, you take that MB21N. So I am using this ZNB8 for the PO. So this is my document type ZNB8. In the same way, you can enter NB standard also if you are using. So this way, if suppose you have created different document type for different type of procurement, maybe for subcontracting PO it is different, for standard PO it is different document type, for consignment PO it is different document type. Okay. For consumable items procurement it is different document type. So whatever document type you have created and you need approval on that, you maintain all the document type here and the description. Click on select values and click on save. Okay. Yeah. So, and whatever characteristics you are defining, just make a note of this. Fine. Now, once we have defined the characteristics, now go back and then click on edit class. So when you will click on edit class, now you have to enter the description of the edit class. So again, you have to enter class 8. So you need to remember this class description as well. In the next step, it will also require. Now, and the class type is, as we have seen, class type is 032 for the release strategy which we are using. So enter class type 032 and click on create. So once you click on create, here first you have to enter the description of the class. So we are doing it for PO class. Okay, then if you click on this keyword, you need not maintain anything. Just click on this characteristics. Char dot means characteristics. And just now, whatever characteristics you have defined, the same characteristics you need to assign here. So the description, whatever I had given. So I had given PO underscore plant 8, right? Enter. If suppose you will enter some wrong description, system will show you the error. Suppose I will enter PO underscore per ORG 3 something. Okay, it will show that it is not there in the system and it is not defined. So you have to create it again. Okay, so I have defined PO underscore per org, which is org 8. Then take PO underscore URGRP8. So when you are defining all the characteristics, just make a note of it. PO underscore value 8 and then PO underscore doc type 8. So this is what the characteristics I have defined. So you can see the description, data character, data and the character, what is the length of that, and the unit, and save. So you have done this. Now next go to the define release procedure for purchase order. So I just want to check the description of class. Yeah, it is PO underscore class 8. Now come back. Now click on define release procedure for purchase order. So click on this. And again, you can see that yesterday also we have done the same thing: release group, release code, release indicator, and strategies. So click on release group first and then go to new entries. Release group can be anything. It should be 2-digit code. Okay. So suppose I am just giving PU and class. So just now I have entered PU underscore class 8, the same description. It is for PU class and then press enter. So this is the release group I have created. You can create multiple release group based on your use. You can create multiple release group and you can assign the class to. Okay. So now I'm using only one release group. That is enough for me based on the discussion with my customer. So I'm just using this. Then click on save and check your transport request number and continue. Save. So my release group I have given PO. So it can be anything alphanumeric you can use. Then come back. The next is release code. So now go to release code. And now what are your release codes? These are my release codes and these are my approver. So now go to new entries. And first of all, you have to enter your release group. So just now I have created my release group. So if you click on this drop down, you can see your release group for PO and code. So what code you want to use for your approver? So I have mentioned P1, P2, P3, P4. So P1 I want to use for purchase executive, P2 I want to use for purchase manager, P3 I want to use for SCM, supply chain manager, and for VP I want to use P4. You can change the designation of the employee also if you want. Okay. So P1 I am just using for purchase executive. P2 I'm just, you can, if it will not be appearing, you can directly type manually purchase executive, purchase manager, and for P3 I'm going to use for supply chain manager, and P4 I'm using for VP. And this release group will be same. So just now I have created one release group and then press enter. Okay. So you have entered your release group, release code also you have defined for the respective employees, and save. So first step, we have done release group, then we have defined the release code. Now go for release indicator. So click on release indicator, and here you can see these are the standard one. So yesterday we discussed about the different process or different changeable items for the PR released, but for PO it is different. So when you will create a purchase order, at that time either the PO should be released or it should be blocked. So these are the release ID. It can be anything. Even you can go to new entries and you can create your own. So if you'll see this changeable. So yesterday also we have seen the same, right? Changeable was 4 based on the requirement. So changeable is 4 means new release in case of new strategy. Means new release in case of new strategy. That means now suppose you have already created a purchase order, it has been sent for the approval, but you want to make some changes on that. Maybe the value will change. So if the value will change, the approver also should change. That is what the standard which we use everywhere. And for others, we have discussed. If you want more details, just you go to the purchase requisition, which we have discussed yesterday. So one by one, we have seen this. So as of now, just take 4, and for release. So once it is released, it cannot be changed. So this is how you are going to configure. So don't make any changes here. This is just the standard one. So just click on save and continue. Okay, so release group, release code, and indicator is done. Now go for release strategies. So go to news strategies. So now when you will start your strategy, you have to mention according to your strategy. So now you have mentioned everything. You have defined your intervals, you have defined your release codes, you have defined your employee names with the release code, and you have defined your characteristics. Now when you are defining your release strategy, you need to finalize who are the employees, who will be the employees, who will approve. So you know that these are the approver who will approve for this interval, but when they will approve for this interval, for which plant they will approve, for which purchase organization, for which characteristics basically they will approve it. That is who we need to maintain. So according to my first strategy, what I have taken, that the first interval in the first strategy, 2% should be there for the approval, and these are my characteristics. Okay, so I'm going back. So go to new entries. So first you have to enter your release group. So if you remember, directly you can type or select it. Release strategy, it is 2-digit code, it can be anything. So I'm just making it strategy 1. So according to my first strategy, 2% should be there for the approval up to 10,000. So who are my 2%? Purchase executive and purchase manager. Purchase executive and purchase manager. Then just press enter. So only 2 persons will be responsible for approval. Then click on release prerequisite. And here based on P1, P2 will approve. So P1 will be the first person who will be approving until P1, means purchase executive will not approve, P2 cannot approve the PO. That is the meaning of this. So don't do anything this here. So just flag this based on the P1, P2 will approve. So these are the code which we are using. So P2 is the release code for purchase manager. Then continue and save. Then go to release status. If you go to release status, you can see P1 and P2 it is showing, and here we have two block. Now in the first block, it both are blank. That means the document is, if document is not approved, if it is approved, it will be tick mark. So if nobody has approved the purchase order, that means the status of the document should be block. So B is for block. If one person has approved but another person has not approved, then also the document is not yet released. Okay, if both the employees P1 and P2, purchase executive and purchase manager, has approved, then only it will be released. Okay, then continue and save. Then now go to classification. So once you'll get into classification, now whatever characteristics you have defined, now you have to select your characteristics. Now this 2% will be responsible for which plant? You have selected multiple plants, but are you giving them authorization to approve for all the plants or not? You are giving for 1 plant, 2 plant, 3 plant. So that is a decision which will be taken while discussing with the customer. So click on continue and press enter, and here you can see whatever plant you have selected, it is showing here. Then go for purchase organization. So now again see, now if it is a single value, it will come the register radio button. So click on this and then purchasing group. So click on here. So whatever you have created, the characteristic, you will be able to see all these here. Now it is depend on you, what are the characteristics for which purchase organization, for which plant you are assigning this to approval. Okay, then go to net order value. So according to your first strategy, this 2% will approve the document if the purchase order value is 0 to 10,000. This is what we have defined, 0 to 10,000. So now click on this net order value and click on 0 to 10,000. So don't select all, because we have different intervals, and based on that we are defining different strategy. So according to our first strategy, this 2% will be responsible for the approval if the PO value is up to 10,000 rupees. Then continue, and then order type. So click on here. So for what order type you are going to assign, you select one. Now you know why it is coming like this, why it is not allowing me to select. Any idea?
Because of single entry.
Because I have selected single value, but in the characteristics I have defined multiple value. So if you want to allow, or if you want that user should, or sorry, if you want that you can select for all the uh, document type, then you have to change your value setting also. So in spite of single value, make it multiple value. Otherwise system will allow you to select only one value at a time. So this is my purchase document type, so I am selecting this. Continue. Done. Now come back and save. Once it is done, now go to release simulation, then click on simulate release and just release. Double click on this, it will be affected, and we have to do it up to here, and this block will turn to released, and then we have to complete. So double click on this, it is effective. Now double click on this, this should be turned to released. Then cancel, continue and save. So this is my first strategy, right? In the same way you have to create your second strategy. So now according to my second strategy, 3% should be there for the approval, right? So first you go back, then go to new entries. So this is your first strategy. Then go to new entries, then enter your release group code, whatever you have created, enter your release strategy. So this is my second strategy, and according to my second strategy, how many percent should be there for approval? 3%. So select all these three, whatever you have defined. So P1, P2 and P3. So this 3% should be responsible for the approval according to my second strategy. Now go to release prerequisite, and then based on P1, P2 will approve. Based on P1 and P2, P3 will approve. So all the approvers are dependent on each other. So until purchase executive will not approve, purchase manager cannot approve. If purchase manager will not approve, then SCM cannot approve. Then continue and save. Then go to release status. So here again the same thing, one more column added, and here you can see P3 is showing. So nobody has approved, block. One person has approved, then also block. 2% has been blocked, approved, then also it will be blocked. If all these three employees have been approved, then this will be the final release document. Continue and save. Then again go to classification. Here the same thing. For these three employees will be responsible for the approval for which plant. So it is depend whether you are selecting them for one, two or multiple. Then select your purchase organization. Then select your purchasing group, whatever you have defined, and then enter your value. So according to my second strategy, this should approve up to this. So final approval will be done by the SCM here in the second strategy, and the order type. Done. Go back and save. Then go to release simulation, simulate release. So double click on this, it should be released, affected, effective, released. Continue and save. So second strategy is also done. And according to your third strategy, which is the final strategy, which will be finally approved by the VP. So just go back, click on new entries, enter the release group as same, and according to your third strategy, your release codes are P1, P2. You can prepare two strategy also. It is not mandatory that you have to take three strategy. P4. And go to release prerequisite again based on P1, P2 will approve, based on P1 and P2, P3 will approve, based on P1, P2 and P3, P4 will approve, and continue and save. And go to release status. Nobody has approved, block. One person approved, block. Two-person approved, block. Three-person approved, block. All the employees approved, then it is released. Then continue, save. And go to classification, select your characteristics for which plant you want to assign for these employees, then select your values here and then continue the same activity. And according to your third strategy, it will be approved by the VP finally. So if it will exceed greater than 1 lakh, then your order type. Then go back and save first. Then go to release simulation, click on simulate release, same activity, affected, released, and now cancel and continue. So this is how your configuration is done for PR release strategy. For the PO release strategy. So once you are done, now you go and create a purchase order and you can check. So this is what the document type I had taken earlier. So I'm just going to create a new purchase order, ME21N. Then first of all, you select your document type. So it is depend. If suppose you have not taken document type as your part of approver, means in your uh, configuration, then don't worry, you can check with others. So that's the reason. So basically document type is important. We are selecting this. So ZNB8, then select your supplier, whatever supplier you have, enter your purchase organization, purchasing group, company code, then select your material, whatever material you want to select. So based on the plant, you can check that 77P1 and enter the quantity, price if you want. I think info record is maintained for this, so price should pick automatically. Then enter your plant. So I have entered 10, but it should pick automatically if info record is maintained. So it is coming 45. So what is the value? 45. Okay, first go to header tab and check release strategy tab is appearing or not. It is not appearing here. Then click on this check tab. Now it is appearing, right? So release strategy tab is here now. So according to your release strategy, you can see two persons are coming here. That means the PO value is below 10,000. 0 to 10,000 is your PO value. That's the reason these two persons are there for the approval. So now check the value. Go to item details. Check your total value. So it is 450. So it is in between 0 to 10,000. Now let me change the quantity. Suppose I'll enter the quantity as 1,000. So now it is okay. It is more. Let me give 100. So it is 4,500. Right. So now also 2% should be there. Yes. Now if I'll enter 1,000. So 1,000 means 1,000 into 45. So what is the value now? 45,000. So 45,000 is coming in between 10,000 to 10,001 to 1 lakh, right? So in that means this 3% should be there. Supply chain manager also should be added. But here now we can see only 2. So let me just click on check. In case if it will not applicable, click on this check tab. System will refresh it and you can see that now supply chain manager is also added. Okay, and according to our third strategy, greater than 1 lakh, VP should be appear. Okay, if the PO value is greater than 1 lakh, then VP should appear. So greater than 1 lakh. So how much it is? Go to your item details, check your value. So how much it is? 4,50,000. 4,50,000 is greater than 1 lakh, right? So now click on check and go to header and check your release strategy. VP is also appearing. Is it clear?
Yes.
So this is how the user is going to create a PO. So based on the value of the PO, this approver will trigger in the approver will be visible in the release strategy, and the user can see that, okay, these are the 4 approver who will approve this purchase order. So he will get to know. So what he will do now, he will just click on save. So once he will click on save, his job is done. He has created a PO and now it has been sent for the approval. So now the approver will get the email notification. Okay. Now how the approver will approve the PO? So to approve the PO, we have a different transaction code. So ME21N is the transaction code which we have seen to how to create a purchase order. If now the approver, whoever will approve, maybe they will not have the authorization for ME21N. They have authorization only to approve the PO. So what they will do, they will go to ME29N. So ME29N is the T code which is used to release the purchase order. And now go to this other purchase order and enter the PO number. So now the approver will enter the PO number and press enter. Now you can see this is the PO number. So the first approver will get into this release strategy, and here he will click on this release. This job is done. So once purchase executive has been approved, now it has been sent for the purchase manager. So purchase executive will now save his document. His job is done. Now email notification will be sent to the purchase manager. Now purchase manager will, because every employee will have different user ID and password for SAP, right? So now they will again log in into their system. Now purchase manager, because I have the access for all, so I am able to do it. But here all the employee have to approve it individually. So once purchase executive is done, now purchase manager will log in into SAP with his credential, whatever they have, or they will get into the email. So they will go to ME29N. So I'm using /n, ME29N, and same purchase order number. So now you can see, once I have saved it, I cannot approve it. So now, for example, I have logged in as a purchase manager. I will just get into this transaction code and I'll go to this other purchase document. I'll enter the PO number and then I'll go to header. I'll check the value and all, everything is correct. Then I'll check, and now you can see this tab is enabled for me. Then I'll click on continue and save. My job is done. Now who is responsible for the approval? Supply chain manager. Now he will have his own credential to log in into SAP. So he will get into this. He will get into SAP. Then he will go to M29N. Then go to this other purchase order. He will enter the purchase order number. Then he will click on header. He will check the release strategy. He will go through everything, whether the material is good or not, the quantity is fine or not, the price is fine or not. They will check the plant, for which plant they are ordering. So like that, they will go through all this and they will approve it. Approve. So who is left now? Now it is left with the VP. So now once the supply chain manager is done, now we will go back to ME29N. Now the VP will log in into SAP system. He will enter the PO number and then he will go to header, release strategy, and he will see that everybody has been approved. then he will approve, and then the save. So this is how now PO is fully approved. Okay. So earlier I had shown you how to create the document type, how to create the number range, how to assign the number range to the document type, and how to create the PO. That was the way we create the PO. Okay. So once you'll create the PO, this release strategy also should be configured so that the release strategy tab should appear while creating the PO, so that the user can see based on the value who are the approvers, and he can follow up with the approver, and he will like complete their PO approval part. And once it is approved, now this PO will be sent to the supplier. Okay. So if suppose you want that this PO should be sent directly to the supplier, so here we have this additional data, sorry, in this address tab, if we'll click on this address details, so basically here we maintain the supplier details, right? Supplier address and all. So here we have this email ID. So now this PO will be sent to this email ID to the supplier. So this is the supplier address which we have maintained. So once it is fully approved, so these are the configurations which you need to do from the backend. So once it is done, once it is fully approved, whatever email ID is mentioned, if suppose you will enter your email ID, now suppose the user wants that after fully approval, once it is approved, it should come to me first, and then I'll verify the PO, and then I will send it to the PO manually via email. They can do that. But if they want no, once it is approved, the PO should be sent to the supplier directly. Then enter the email address of the supplier here, and then continue, and then it will be sent to the supplier directly. So this is how your PO release strategy works. Okay. Any questions?
So in real time, the users also will use these T codes
Which decode? Just
because
ME29N?
yeah.
See, ME29N is the release in the T is the T code which will be authorized only to the approvers. So who are the approvers? According to your strategy, purchase executive, purchase manager, supply chain manager, VP. So only these four person will be responsible for the approval. So ME29N is the transaction code will be authorized to only these four person, not to the users. User cannot approve. User can be anyone from the department, from within the organization. It can be from HR department, marketing department, sales department, finance department, any department. So user cannot approve it. User
So
can
these
only
four we
submit.
can call it as users, right? Purchase executive and purchase manager. We cannot
Right.
call
So for
them as users.
you can call user also, but for user, so these users are approver,
Okay.
and they are responsible for purchase order approval. And they are like, see, purchase executive, purchase manager, supply chain manager. These are part of the purchase department. So for any procurement activity, they have to approve it. Now suppose there is a user from the HR department. He needs some material. So he cannot approve for the purchasing, right? He's from HR department. Maybe someone from the finance department, they want some material for their department, maybe some laptops, some desktops, some hard drive, software, whatever they required for their department. They will create a purchase requisition. Based on that, that will be approved, then the purchase order will be created. And once so now the finance department will create the purchase order. So once they will create the purchase order, they will submit it, save it, then they can see that okay, these are the four persons who can approve. So until they will not approve, this PO will not be released finally, and we cannot send it to the supplier. So now this is purchase department responsibility is to send the purchase order to the supplier based on the order.
Okay.
So these are also user, like purchase executive is also user, but this user have some role to approve the PO. Like HR manager don't have authorization any means we are not giving any authorization for approval to the HR department or any other department. If you want, or if you suppose that management will say no, the this material is related to HR department, so final approval should be from the HR. Then enter HR manager as your approval. So you have to configure accordingly. So that's the reason we have defined different document type. So in the document type, what type of procurement we are doing and who will be for the responsible for the approval. So usually for the purchase order approval, the employees will be belongs to purchase department mostly. Not mostly, but this is what it happens. So only the purchase department will be responsible. So whoever are working in the purchase department, they can only finally approve and they can get the material. Okay.
Yeah.
Shravant, Marco, Chitra, any question?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So in purchase requisition, we ask for a approval, right? We create and we wait for their approval and then create purchase order, or does it run parallelly?
No. First, PR will be created. This is how the flow goes.
Okay.
First, the PR will be created, purchase requisition will be created, then purchase requisition will be approved. So once purchase requisition is approved, now I shown you how to create the PO with reference to PR, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in that formula will work here. So I have created this PO manually, but usually PR will be created, then PR will be approved, then with reference to the purchase requisition, PO will be created, PO will be approved, and it will be
Okay, so
sent to
we'll
the.
have to wait for the PR approval and then create a PO order. How will we get to know? We'll get a mail or something.
Usually you will get the email notification. That is a separate setting.
Okay.
So that is a technical setting which we do where you will get the email notification. Or if you're not getting email notification, you can get the list of all the released PR. So we have the option.
Okay.
From there you can check all the released PR, all the approved PR. And you can get the list from there. And with reference to that PR, you can create the PR.
Okay.
Or if you want, suppose sometimes you may require some material without reference to PR. Suppose urgently you need some material, so directly you can create a queue and you can send it to the supplier.
Okay.
Fine. So do it. So first you complete the PR release strategy, then it would be easy for you to understand this PO release strategy. Okay,
So
fine.
yesterday's issue was not resolved. Actually, I told you
One
something
second.
about.
1 minute.